Hello there, everyone. Welcome to another exciting Star Wars Unlimited video. We are tier list aura farming today by putting down
Sheesh.
our bad takes into one video. I'm here with the new sensation, Big O Notation. How are you feeling today, Ollie?
I'm feeling good. We're gonna get through some leaders. They're all going in D tier, and then we're gonna go actually test some of them for worlds for some reason.
Real. The leaders in the set do leave a little bit to be desired. Just in terms of, I guess, maybe setting ourselves some rules. When we are going through these tiers, so there's S, A, B, C, and D. I'm gonna say that our rubric for assessment here is S is like tier 0, like very obviously, like this is going to be
Yes.
completely meta
Yeah, yeah.
breaking. It's a problem.
I guess
A,
not
I will,
necessarily like Django or Boba levels, but up there in like the top decks
but
kind of
like
thing.
it immediately will be like a clear like top tier contender.
Yes.
A tier is a deck that we are pretty sure will be good. It might fall a bit short of top meta, but we think it's got good odds of being a top meta. B is a deck we think, yeah, you can probably take this to a tournament and like with practice, like you can probably do well, but we doubt it's going to be a major meta force. C will be this is locals level at best, and D is this is bad. Why did they print this? Even like I guess for draft maybe, but this is still bad.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
That makes a lot of sense. So
Well then,
let's kick things off, I guess.
yes.
Uh,
What's our first leader?
First leader we've got here is Anakin Skywalker. We're starting with the one single aspect leaders. Uh,
Oh, okay.
Anakin's
Um,
an interesting one to start off with because there's a lot of options for this kind of leader.
I think so. One thing that I think is very much in Anakin's favor is the fact that he ignores all aspect penalties. I think a lot of people have missed that.
Yes,
So
yeah, yeah,
you can
yeah,
play every villainy non-unit card in the deck, which means you have access to some really powerful stuff, right?
like we're thinking
You know,
overwhelming barrage, super laser
yeah,
blast,
yeah,
like power
Power
of
of the
the
Dark
dark
Side.
side. Yeah,
So we get some really, really relevant stuff. You do need to be in a force base, so that's obviously a downside.
yeah, you are just
And you
starting the
are
game
getting,
with at least -2 health naturally.
yeah, and so my initial inclination is, well, and he's a 5 deploy leader that comes down as a 4/6. So you're like, okay, what are we doing here? Because if you look at hero, the only color I would say that now has a critical mass of late game stuff to do is green. So you kind of have to be in green. And I don't think that's bad because green definitely has the best force payoffs. So whatever you're doing with the force, that's going to be good. But is it that? I don't think he's D.
Yeah,
I would guess
I think
I'm going to say C, maybe B.
I was leaning towards B or C. I think there's potential for him with red because of force throw, but also because of stealer.
Very true. Yeah.
There's a
Yep.
lot
Yep.
of
Very true.
good villainy tactic cards, um,
Very true. Very true.
like super laser blast and overwhelming barrage. But there's also like value to why are you playing a deck where you can like sometimes play some of these cards where you could just play a deck that plays the cards naturally. Like you could just
Well,
play a dual aspect leader. Like there's gonna be better leaders out there than him. So I am leaning towards the CB sort of area.
I'm going to say, and this is slightly spoiling Revan. I think we should put him in B because I'm going to firmly put Revan in C.
Okay, but I'm surprised he's going that
Yeah,
high
I
to
think
be
I think
honest.
Anakin is better than Revan.
Yeah. Well, okay, going on to Revan.
Yeah, it's probably a little too high, but I do think a lot of people will be playing him.
I think he's
Revan.
D. I think he's ass.
Oh, okay. If Malik and his lightsabers didn't exist, I would agree with you. But those are pretty powerful cards.
They are, but I
Like,
don't think they're
I, don't,
enough.
I think you could win a locals with Revan. Like, I don't think you'd lose. I think you could win a locals. He's a 5/3/6, so he's coming out like with the stat line. His ability is good to make your stuff big. There are like cards like Tyrannus suddenly becomes a lot better because he becomes a 5/3 after you kill like a 2-drop or something. I mean, obviously, if the 2-drop is a 2, so you can kill a 2/4, right? So you can kill a 2/4. So if your opponent still has the 2-drop, which they probably will, then that's always like something that's reasonably positive. His lightsaber's solid. Malik is very scary. Like you can make some really big stuff really quickly. So there is some upside. that upside I think is about sufficient. Bearing in mind as well, I think the caliber of leader we're going to be putting in D tier. I'm thinking Grand Inquisitor. Revan is no Grand Inquisitor. Like he does something.
Okay, I'm gonna let you have Revan in C tier if it means whatever you end up putting Kylo in, I'm gonna pull him down a tier.
Fuck you. You're probably not going to pull him down a tier because I think I'm being pretty reasonable with my assessment of Kylo.
Okay, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Who's next? Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon's another tricky one to assess.
So
He's
good.
got such good potential, but he's also like really clunky. It feels like you have to get the Force. You have to have a high density of units in your deck. You have to have units that cost less than the ones you play. Have them live and then want to bounce them back and do all this like tricky shit. I think he's got potential, but I don't know where it comes from.
His ceiling is really high, but his floor is really low.
Yeah,
And that's too much spread, I think, to be a reasonable competitive deck. I mean, I think he's B.
yeah, I think B as well. The one thing I do really like about him is using cards like Change of Heart. I've also got a build with Impropriety Amongst Thieves.
Yep.
Stealing your opponent's units and then bouncing them back to the hand to play something out from your hand, it feels really good. But
100%.
you have to get to the late game to do that, and like once you're there, I don't know if there might be better decks that can play the late game better that don't just die in the early game.
Yeah, entirely possible. But I definitely think he has potential.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess next is Cal. D tier, please.
Yeah, Cal is some ass.
Cal's fucking garbage. Why would I not be playing Kaz?
Grand Inquisitor.
D tier.
Yeah.
Awful. Pointless leader. Barris, there's something to doing cost reduction.
Yes.
She is the worst deploy cost in the game. But potentially cutting for 3 seems pretty good. So C tier?
Yeah, I'm kind of down for C tier. That makes a lot of sense.
9.
Ray is bad.
D tier. D tier.
D tier. Third sister has got to have something to her.
C tier at least.
C tier, yeah.
Maybe B.
I've not messed around with this leader at all, so I have no real idea. I think, like, giving an aggro deck, or like what I'm assuming will eventually be an aggro deck, the ability to always play units with hidden so that they're guaranteed to get their damage through seems pretty strong to me. But I
think the weird thing. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know where it like fits in. Like, what do you play with it?
Well, one of the weird things is, right, traditionally aggro absolutely smacks control. The problem, though, is that this is an aggro deck where it's going to have an inverted matchup spread because it's actually countering unit-based removal rather than effect-based removal. So this is actually going to lose really hard to control and absolutely smack like mid-range decks.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So obviously, having an inverted matchup spread is actually quite beneficial depending on what the meta is. So there weren't actually many, if any, good cards with him that were revealed once that came out. I suspect the keyword was maybe too good. So, I'm inclined to give this B.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those, I feel like the B tier is the ones we're a little bit unsure about, right?
Yeah. Like, they have potential, and maybe they'll go up.
Yeah.
Maul, his lightsaber's good, and he can play ECL.
Maul doesn't seem terrible to me. Like, he's got a good effect, but the issue is if your opponent has one unit, he has to ping his own shit, and that's really annoying.
He's a 6 deploy as well,
and he's a 6 deploy, and he also has to be using the Force, which just feels clunky. I think he could be C or D. I'm kind of down for C.
Let's put him in C. And we'll see.
He's not as bad as these guys, probably.
No, definitely not. Red Hero got absolutely fucking shafted this set.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Put him in 18.
Yeah. I'm down for OV and A.
This leader is so good. This leader is so good. I think this is the only leader that people universally agree on. Not only is it good, but it actually will see play because it's doing something meaningfully different.
Yes, yeah. It's doing something meaningfully different in that it's a viable green-white leader.
Yes. Well, there's that. And also, obviously, Ray Green has been seeing a lot of play, but this is very different to Ray Green, even though on the surface level, you might go, well, they're both blue, green, white decks that are playing units and making them bigger. But the way Ray does that and the way Obi do that are so different that they are
Yeah.
genuinely different decks.
Obi wants to play so much more aggressive and like really plays into the high roll potential that you get with like Jedi Consular if you play the rare base,
Yeah,
and that
you
sort
will
of
be
thing.
abusing
General's Blade as well, like
stuff. Yeah,
really just playing like a high density of if this card lives for a turn, I win units or effects.
and you're making them so much stickier that they are way more likely to live for a turn.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Plus
very high on it.
we just got a bunch of overstatted units. What happens if you add overstatted units with more stats? Probably pretty good, right?
Yep. Avar.
Avar.
Peter?
I think this is too slow to work personally.
I,
I think
so
C tier is fair.
I, I'm tempted to agree, but two things. Firstly, you can play a 30 HP base. That's a big deal. You get to interact
True.
with the force mechanic,
True.
but not take a hit to your health. Yes, I think it's slow. I think it's a 7 deploy, realistically. Um, a 7, the problem. Okay, so the problem is if you deploy it on 7, you're probably not going to have the force. Whereas if you deploy on 8, it comes down as an 8-10. So there's going to be some element of balancing that.
Yeah, playing
But
a non-force base with this deck means that your leader is nowhere near as impactful, nor does it come out as early.
but always having the force is a really big deal when you need it.
Yeah.
And there are, I mean, green is the color with the force payoffs. So like, I, I feel like it's slow, but you always have the force, and that's such a big deal. Like you can always Yoda, you can always like Yoda is a bomb, right? Like that is a crazy card, and this is the kind of deck that can probably get to a Yoda. You're probably still playing it in blue, but you're playing it far more controlling early game.
Yeah.
And then using the late game to just play out your game. I don't know. I would have said B or C. I definitely don't think D.
Yeah.
I would have thought B. If we're putting third sister in B, I would have put her in B.
Okay. That's I'm between B and C as well a little bit.
I'm open to being convinced. I think it's fine either way.
I'm putting it in C because we put Revan in C, and that to me is still kind of criminal. So.
Sure, fine. We should probably put Anakin at the bottom of B as well.
Oh yeah, true. If we're really ordering this, yeah.
Yes. Snoke.
Snoke is weird. He's like
Yeah.
slightly better than Tarkin in my mind. And Tarkin is
Sure.
not terrible, but he's also not great.
Yeah, I also think that the problem with Snoke is that you just completely walk into any removal deck, like any control deck, it's unwinnable because you can only stack up one guy. Um,
Yeah.
I was so like, well, I mean, I think there's just a lot of things where like I can shut off your leader ability by no good to me deading your biggest guy, and then you're like, oh, okay, I guess that's 2 turns where I'm not gonna get value out of this leader ability, not gonna get value out of this huge unit. Um, and then the other thing is it's 6 deploy 4/7, which is just really really rough.
Yeah. He's
And
like
your opponent, sorry, go on.
he's like a weird Ray in villainy, but I don't know how much.
Yeah,
Like Ray's advantage
Without-
is that she gets the healing, so she stabilizes as her own, like she's her own stabilization tool in an already value oriented leader strategy. Whereas
Yeah.
Snoke has the like you're generating a bunch of value with all of this experience tokens, but I don't know if green villainy or like villainy in general has the rest of the package to fit in with that.
I don't think it does. As
Yeah.
compelling as Barrage and Craving Power are, I mean, you're also not getting access to the best bases in the game by being green on your leader versus green on your
Yes,
versus
yeah.
non-green.
I'm noticing that
okay.
in so many green control strategies nowadays.
Yeah, so it's just rough. Like I think he's cool. I don't think he's bad. He's probably B. I mean, the strategy basically already exists, and he might be a strictly worse version of the strategy, but it's not a bad strategy.
Yeah, I think we can put him in B because he's just like a slight upgrade to Tarkin. Probably.
Yeah, and he's comparable at minimum, so it's like
Yeah.
fine, like sure. Morgan, this is my hot take, maybe. I know we need to always respect leaders that say reduce the cost, but I think this is such a completely unplayable version of that I want to put it in D tier.
Wow. I'm very excited to just have a little scroll through SwooDB because of this leader. I agree that I don't think she's going to be any good, but I'm so curious if there's just something like one small interaction that could break her.
I think the problem is like it's so slow. You have to not only have a unit sharing a keyword,
I think it's
which in
the attack thing is the real
yeah,
big thing.
and it's after that, right? So you have to play the unit the previous turn. It needs to survive that previous turn. You then need to attack with the unit. It needs to survive your opponent's next action, and then you get your value.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like Jesus Christ.
It's
I
a
mean,
lot
like
of
that.
hoops to jump through for sure.
Or you
Okay.
could just play Haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
like
we could put it in C tier.
sure, it's better than I think Revan's better than she is.
Wow, that's a crazy
I
take.
really am like I'm sorry, like I really think she's bad.
Kanan.
So I actually think this isn't awful, but a certain card called Darth Vader, Twilight of the Apprentice existing,
Yeah.
means that this is already going to be going in with like 30% unwinnable matchups because I have no idea how you win that matchup when your whole leader ability just gets hard countered by a card existing. A card that is seeing play everywhere that can play it.
He's
Um,
one of those. He's one of those guys where he's like he's good, but he's just not good enough. Like I think Luke is. I think set one Luke is better than him, to be honest.
yeah, I appreciate there is a strategy here for Kanan, and there is value to being able to constantly shield the same thing. Um, I'm just gonna say, I th
I think C.
he's probably as good as Anakin. He's probably B. Like I don't think he's bad. I think he's just gonna be meta awful.
Yeah.
You know, like power wise, I actually don't think he's bad. I think it's just you're not gonna you're gonna lose to basically anything good.
Yeah. I think it's the kind of leader that will see one or two sneak into top cuts occasionally.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. I
that's
agree.
kind of in my mind where I'm looking at B tier.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Ahsoka.
Can we put Ahsoka in detail?
This is
Put her in detail.
ass. Yeah.
Fucking bullshit. I can't
Okay.
even believe anyone thinks this is playable.
We got the two interesting ones for last, honestly.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
Mother Talzin.
Talzin. Okay, so at power level, Talzin I think is pretty easily A.
Yeah.
You play the 28 HP force space, you're fine. My only thing with Talzin is when am I ever playing her over Kira? And those situations do exist. There are things you can do with Talzin you can't do in Kira.
Yeah.
You do like, but
Your early cover's a
there
lot
are
stronger in
also
Talzin.
situations, right? You are forced into a 28 HP base. You
Yeah.
cannot data vault, cannot ECL, right? And I think that alone probably makes this not playable in the upcoming meta, considering its color combinations. But I do really like what the leader does in blue green anyway. Now I think blue red you can have a different discussion and you can play force stuff and force throw and that could maybe be something that's there. You could play either 4/4 turn
I was
two.
gonna say,
Um,
I think the red base is really strong with her. I think
yeah,
that's
I
got
think
some
she's a lot
potential.
better with red.
But yeah,
I
Talzin, I'm
she
happy
has
for
to.
A.
She's a 3/7 fundamentally that deploys on 5 with a meaningful ability. Like she's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. Now, the most interesting one for last, we got Kylo. I'm
It's
gonna
a
let you.
easy.
You can say your piece for
This
this
is
one.
easy A tier. I think like this, okay. So I've played this deck a lot. I think uh, look, I know we all want to be playing the really fun, cute combo yellow OTK thing where you just suit him up and he swings for 14 and he has Saboteur and he can't be destroyed and he can't be rested, and then you claim initiative and then you win on the next action. I know I'm sure we all want to play that deck. Um, it's cheesy and it's like locals level. This deck in green is completely fucking terrifying. You have like now I don't know if it's better than Kira, right? And that's really going to be the the same question with Talzin, right? Do I want to be playing this over Kira? Kylo at least has actually a meaningfully different axis upon which he operates, right? Yes, you are going to be playing that unit control strategy, but instead of having something that more easily stabilizes against mid range and aggro, you have a guaranteed late game bomb that's going to come down and be the most threatening leader in the game. So that's the trade off you're making. And there is some, yes, you're losing versatility in the sense of you don't get to shield up some of your units. So again, you're losing some of that potency into mid range and aggro, but you have more consistency because you're able to filter through your deck. You have more value because when your leader comes out, you're one actioning using a whole load of resources, doing some board interaction, and building the biggest sentinel in the universe. So it is literally, I think, just they are different enough. Like in the like Talzin, I think gets just so hard shoved out of the green color combo because she is just strictly worse and kind of has to go into red. Whereas Kylo, I think, is offering something meaningfully different, and that thing is really good.
I definitely agree that he offers something meaningfully different, and I've seen a lot of people say that he is very bad, um, which has kind of shocked me a little bit. Like, I don't think he's terrible, but I don't think he's A tier either. I think he's probably a solid B tier. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple get into top cuts, uh, but I don't think he's going to be running the meta. I don't think he's going to be like
I don't think he's going
a
to be
massive
running the meta
presence.
either. I agree with that, but in Kira doesn't run the meta either and isn't an oppressive presence either. I think our axis for like that's our axis for S tier, not A tier.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Sorry, I mean, I don't think he's going to be like a consistent deck in the meta.
I don't know. I think like I appreciate he. The thing is, right? He is doing something that has historically been bad, and so I understand the inclination for people. She's doing actually. He's doing three things in Star Wars Unlimited that have historically been really, really bad, right? First of all, he's a late deploy leader. Historically, that has almost immediately written you off as not playable. On top of that, he is doing. He's coming in understated on 7. Again, historically, that has also not been great. He's also Voltroning, which again historically has not been great. So there's a lot of factors that like I understand why you look at the leader and your immediate reaction isn't this is crazy. Your immediate reaction is this seems like it might this seems like maybe there's something cool here. It's doing something different. I don't know if it's good. The counterpoint is when you remember that a lot of the reasons those things were bad is because you were losing tempo, you were falling behind. Whereas if you look at what Kylo does in green in particular, also yellow, is he comes in as a sentinel that is going to stall your opponent, and the upgrades they gave the deck are either going to kill your opponent or interact with their board. On top of that, this deck, thank fuck they made this guy blue black. If he was green,
Yeah,
I think I
honestly.
would have written it off. I would have been like, sorry, it is what it is. This guy just can't hang with the big boys. You get Data Vault, you get ECL, you get New Vader. I think at minimum, the fact that you can play this guy with those two potential options from there, in particular ECL, rockets him up to better than Qui-Gon, better than any of these things, and better than a lot of leaders we already have in the game. And so I don't think he's worse than Talzin. And I think if we're comfortable with Talzin in A, we're comfortable with Kylo in A. But I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be better running. There's a lot there, and he's easy to counter. There are absolutely counters that exist.
Yeah.
And worth saying, the Vader thing goes both ways. Yeah, I make my really big guy, but if my opponent then Vaders me, my big guy does nothing.
I was gonna
So
say the Vader
it cuts
existing
both
and
ways,
this
right?
guy deploying on 7, where you can like timely invader and Shien flurry invader if that sees play,
100%.
is gonna
Yeah.
be a huge thing.
You
Um,
have to be, in my experience with the deck, you have to be very, very careful and considered when you actually deploy, depending on the matchup. Against some color combos, you can just shotgun it, right? Like you don't care. Yeah, if they have the out, they have the out, but often there isn't really a great one.
yeah,
Whereas in other matchups, in particular, I'm thinking blue matchups, um, you got to be way more careful about that kind of thing. Like you can't just shotgun it because they are going to be able to evade you. They are going to be able to rivals for you.
yeah. I still think he's B tier, like middle low B tier, but I'm down to put him in A tier so we can put it in on the thumbnail and see
I'm,
what
I'm happy
people
to
say
I'm happy to
about
drop
that.
Anakin down to C tier.
Okay, will he put Revan down to D tier?
I don't think he's as bad as the others in there though. Like the others are proper garbage. Revan at least is a decent deploy and does a good ability. Like everything in D has a shit ability and a shit deploy. Well, besides Kit Fisto, who has a good ability and a shit deploy.
That's fair. Okay, I will leave him at the bottom of C tier then.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If there was, we could add a Revan tier.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this list looks much better to me, except for maybe the Kylo and the Revan, but
You're cooked. You're cooked. You just don't understand the vision.
we'll see, we'll see. Galactics, you'll show them all.
100%. Well,
Alright,
there we go.
that's the tier list. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Were we wrong or were we right? And, well, what, Jesus Christ, what were we wrong about? Let us know why we're bad at the game. Please.
100%. Because I mean, I don't know if you guys knew this, but we are actually terrible. Because you know, I think Ollie's top 10 in the world, but you know, that means there's 9 people better than him, right? So he's clearly bad.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's a little rough.
I can't wait for us to both go O2 drop on day 2.
Oh my god. Side events, watch out.
Yeah, baby. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like, subscribe. See you in the next one.